to the classics.
Uno, two, tres, four.
Wait, what? Oh shit, wrong one. How you gonna what? Yeah, we're starting. Hello, everybody. We are super late, and we are in fact gay. I am so sorry for the late starting. So power went out today for me, which really sucked. And I sent Buddha here a message like, "Hey, so power's out," and he's like, "What does that mean?" I'm like, "It means what it means. My power's out, so I don't know what's gonna be turning back on, but I'll let you know later. Okay, I'll send you a message, letting you know, like how everything is." And so around like 7:30, I sent him one. No, 6:30, I sent him one, and he didn't get back to me because he had a slight misunderstanding. Maybe because I didn't explain it well, but essentially he thought we were going to be starting later. So yeah. Uh, hello, killer. No, I can't do it. Fucking Kira. Oh, Killer Queen. Wait, you don't watch JoJo's, do you?
Yeah.
You do? Oh, yeah, Killer. I shit you not, dude. That is probably one of my favorite things about JoJo's is the fact that like almost every like Stan's name is named after like a old
Exactly. Yeah.
like Silver Chariot, Killer Queen, Star Platinum. I think the only one. Well, oh, okay, answer me this. You'd probably know this more than I do. Is the ward named after something, or is it literally just called the ward? Like just the ward. That's it. Like, does that have any actual naming in the history for like?
I said, I need to refresh. I need to rewatch and refresh.
I haven't looked up. I haven't looked up like an actual like a page describing it or not. But I was always been curious. I might want to check that out later. But I will say like I mean I grew out of like no, I can't say grew out of like oh I grew up, but like no, I basically stopped watching JoJo's after part 5 because I felt like it just was going a bit too wild with the stands and the setups that it was just breaking so much of my immersion and the story and narrative just took like there's a huge difference in the narrative from parts 5 and 6 from that of 3 and 4 Like I would honestly say JoJo's Part One, solid. JoJo's Part Two, really good. JoJo's Part Three, peak. JoJo's Part Four, really good. And then we get to five. It's like, oh, okay, this is like decent but questionable. Part five, oh, this is bad. Favorite stand is Bad Company for me, and I was wanted to record version. Also, yes, I have the ward is a tarot card. Okay, it's a tarot card. Wait, which one is that one? Bad Company. That name sounds familiar. JoJo Bad Company. Whoa, why don't I remember this one? Uh, oh, right! The little toy soldiers, Bad Company. Yeah, the brother used it. Oh, he fucking got. Wow. I guess that's why I forgot him, because I actually thought his character was kind of like, eh. Like, I didn't really, like, see him as, like, anything too big, and he, well, died in, like, that almost. That same moment he was introduced, he basically died. So I just completely forgot about him. I guess if I had to choose a favorite stand, I don't want to be a bitch and choose Star Platinum or any of the mainline like stand users, like Josuke, Jotaro, even Giovanni, because his stand is just fucking retardedly broken. Um, fuck, which one would I choose? That's actually a pretty hard question. I guess for lack of a better, like, you know what? I've always enjoyed the creativity of some stand users, so I would say if it was given to a stronger, more intelligent person, the hand from part five would be really good. Um, Lovely. I would use the Requiem to make soldiers human sized and their weapons, tools also grown. Oh, so you're just making like a huge military. Yeah, you just make a huge military, like a huge actual infantry of like soulless. Like what's up?
You said lovely. It's low key.
Oh, sorry. Is that the screen's kind of far away and it's hard to see because my mic's in the way. But yeah, no, fucking, I get it. Like, if I was using one for a bit more, like, then yeah, I would probably use the Josuke stand. Fucking wow, why am I forgetting the name of his stand? Has it been that long since I've watched part four? I'm honestly forgetting Josuke's stand. Do you remember Josuke's stand?
I mean, worse than that on my memory.
Joe's. I got so much anime. I've literally been. I've already watched 5 different animes in the past week. Josuke Stan. What is it called again? Crazy Diamond. That's right. Fuck. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. You know what? For how bad of a stand it actually is, Joseph slash Jotaro's mom slash Jonathan's body stand Hermit Purple. For some reason, I really like that name, and for what it does, it's pretty practical. It's just kind of stupid that you have to like basically break a camera every time you want the image to be shown. Low key wonder of you, Stan. I would use personally. Low key wonder of you. Shining Diamond for all my legends. Shining Diamond. Yeah. Well, Crazy Diamond, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, no, Crazy Diamond's its ability's pretty good. It's not like ridiculously broken like Giovanna's stand, because his is literally just life. Like, he can like literally make inanimate things be given life of any sense. So, and like to a regular person, it's like, oh, that's not too crazy. I'm like, yeah, but then when you start realizing the ridiculous shit he can actually do, especially near the end, and after he gets hit with the arrow, basically make it so this way he can just make you re-experience death on an almost endless loop is just insane. And I will say I hated how kind of like convoluted that ending part got for part five, because I was really wondering how are they going to beat the villain, because the villain stand is just essentially like I, I'm not trying to get into JoJo's. I really am not. But what really annoyed me is the fact that Part 5 and Part 6's like stand users for what their abilities were. I hate the fact that like you had um Dio and then three other stand villain users involve either time relevancy or like like basically time bending or time or universe bending, reality bending shit for their stand users. Meanwhile, you have Killer Queen in Part 4 where his shit is just I can make bombs. Like I can either make these projectile bubble bombs or by touching you I can make you into a bomb. Which is like, wow, that's really underpowered. Why do people love him so much? Because he's a really solid fucking character. That's why. No shot at fucking Dio. Dio is legendary. But then as soon as you go to part 5 and part 6, like those villains are weak sauce in comparison. But anyways, okay, so we are just got into a random topic. Um so before we actually get into anything, how was your week? I know you've been away.
Yeah, I was.
Did you have fun?
I just visited the family and usual. Nothing really special.
Okay. What the hell, man? Like I was expecting to be like, yeah, we had some barbecue, we saw the fireworks, and yada yada yada. You're just like, no, it's
We
chill.
only do fireworks when I was on the other side of the country.
Okay then, Mr. Satsack, we're gonna get right into it then. But of always, of course, guys, like today's topics, there we will be getting to some, as I put in the description. These are gonna be probably showcasing some of the darker side of the manga and anime industry, things that like really head into the actual waters of like while you could always enjoy anime, and I think we all here can say that we do, there are always like some things going on in the background that aren't always so great, especially when we covered some things in the past. This doesn't stem into anything as crazy as a sexual deviant, but it does stem on the actual fact of just the level of like abuse that we're gonna be talking to is gonna be just kind of sad. What do you mean Poochie is strong and Devono he's strong? I'm not saying they're not strong, hun. I'm saying as characters they're not strong. They are not the best written characters. Devono's entire thing is, oh, I'm so evil that on my birth I realized like I want to hide my identity, so I'm gonna go so as far as to basically find my mother, bury her 10 feet under concrete of my own house where I'm living in with my adopted father, and then proceed to like fuck woman, kill woman, find out she was pregnant with my child, and kill child. Even though I've never met child, somehow this child can get somehow this child who doesn't know who I am, but my would be like enemies would somehow find out that this is my child, would find a way to get her and lead her back to me. So I must have my agents go grab child, bring child to me, and then kill child. The level of retardation that entire setup needs to happen is so ridiculous, and it only works because the guy is such a fucking egotistical, maniacal maniac. Like they wanted to write a villain who was just so evil, but he really didn't know any justifiable way to like make him like be presented in like any reasonable way. So they just made him like retardedly evil. That's all he is. I'm now officially going to hide my. Oh my god, my fucking mic. I'm not going to officially hide my identity and become Diavano. Don't tell Moose. Oh my god. Yes, go become Diavano. Go live in Italy and start an organizational group. I will say the funniest thing about Prop Fight when it comes to Diavano is Dopey. Dopey, his alter ego, the like whippy side. Every time he made a fucking phone call, I laughed my ass off. I think the funniest one is when he's riding the plane and he's talking to the toy phone, and he like after he's done talking to his other self through the toy phone, he hands it back to the little girl and thanks her for giving him, and she merely picks up the phone and goes like, "Hello," I just lost it. That's good comedy, but again, that's comedy written around the villain, not about the villain himself. But I guess I'm getting off topic. Um, so nothing too crazy for the first part as usual. Yeah, Doopy, I love him. Sucks that he had to die the way he died. I really liked him. Uh, but anyways, so the first bit of news. This isn't anything too big. I just found it funny. is New Zealand censors My Dress Up Darling. The popular romantic comedy has received the strictest and most restricted content rating in New Zealand, sparking disbelief among thousands of fans. Authorities have determined that the anime My Dress Up Darling must be restricted exclusively to those 18 years older, due to the cosplay themes and suggestive scenes. The drastic legal measure erupts the school story about hobbies and sewing in the productions of feature extreme violence and adult content. The West doesn't understand anime, and I couldn't agree that sentiment more. Basically, they're saying that this coincides with the idea that the things they're watching on television or on YouTube or the things they're interacting with their hobbies help facilitate the negative aspects of someone. Like, basically, like they're saying, like, you play GTA 6, you will become that murderous psychopath who goes around killing hookers and stealing cars. You watch My Dress Up Darling, you will become a depraved lunatic who just wants to fucking go in your house and beat off all day, or that's how you see women. That's kind of what they're getting at. It's the tried and true argument of, like, if X thing has this thing in it, we must protect children by not showing it to them or even explaining it to them what it's about, because we can't assume children, like, are at least smart enough to engage with it at any sensible word. Like, no, 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 protect children overall, and even then, that's a lie. Most active people who do this type of censoring don't really give a fuck about children. Not to go off topic. Ready? Next anatomy, can we go JoJo themed one? I could definitely look into, like, doing like a JoJo focused, like, maybe we can find a video that talks about, like, maybe a video that criticizes a certain part or something, or talk about like a characters list. I don't know. I mean, Bruto here, like he said, he used to watch JoJo's, and he's a big fan of the idea of, like, the names for it. So we can talk about something. I don't know about next animes though, because that's only gonna give us a week to prepare. But this could be something we do later on down the line. Sure, I wouldn't mind it. But anyways, so Bruto, thoughts on this, on the censorship of My Dress Up Darling?
This doesn't make any sense.
Well, again, there's a lot of things that don't make sense when it comes to censoring. I again, as a young,
No, but the way how he labels it.
well, again, they label it that way because they specifically have to use that charged up language to get people involved. Like, again, how do you think the Karens and, like, the normies understand what you're trying to tell them? You don't try to actually define something to them. You sprinkle in very charged, very, like, aggressive language to be like, it's like basically like, don't eat cow, it's murder, man. It's like that. The difference is we don't listen to stupid hippies. But of course,
They're not hippies.
huh? Oh yeah, there's the New
Well,
Zealand government. But
mhm.
it's funny, right? So they described it this way, and I tried looking up some of the actual, like, what they've done to censor it, and all they've really done is just made it, like, have a high rating, their highest rating possible, so this way no, like, service that has this anime on it can watch it. That's their censoring. So they made it so this way you have to be above 18 years of age of order. It's not like China where you can watch it around the age of 13 and they just literally put on pants for everything. Like, have you seen some of the edits China did to My Dress Up Darling?
Nope, but I wouldn't be surprised that it would be something noticeable.
Here, let me see if I can't find something. My Dress Up Darling China censorship. Like, it is on the level of 4 kids with fucking One Piece.
Why does it keep picking up? Like,
So
there's
literally, like, right there, you see how, like, she's showing all these, like, this and stuff. He's measuring her and everything, and she's like,
how come when I say something you're not listening?
"Well, oh, I'm sorry. What'd you say?"
I'm saying my PNG keeps moving too much, even
I
though I'm not talking.
I don't think it's an
And I
issue,
try to
hun.
be as quiet as I can.
I don't think it's an issue. I think it's fine.
Well, I can't tell from the PC.
I mean, like, it's not moving now. It's like you are quieting.
But who knows? Because I may be moving.
But what does that matter?
Because it just sounds off.
Again, I don't think it's an issue. I think it's just like a little bit of like sound reverb, or your mic is just a bit too sensitive. That's picking up other noises in the background. That's causing that extra movement. But again, I don't see it as an issue. It's not looks like it doesn't look like it's doing it constantly.
All right.
Again, I just don't see an issue. Wait, yo, holy smokes, them shorts on them. Yes, yes, those are some denim shorts. But no, yeah. So that's just some of the shepherd shit they've done. They've added much more later on. I think,
Physics.
yeah. But again, it's just like one of those things where like I get like the idea of censoring something, right? I at first understood what people were trying to get at, the quote unquote protection for children or underage, sure. But most often than not, people take advantage of that very same idea of protection to children, and like we must get rid of anything possible harmful that we can deem to be harmful to children. And that's like, why are you going to this extreme? You don't need to go to this extreme. And again, it always goes back to the conversation of parents versus government versus studio, yada yada yada. And I don't want to get into that right now because that's not a big thing. It was just kind of like a little quick tidbit, funny story. I still think, I think one day we do have to like actually go into a deep conversation about that though, like us specifically, not like anyone else. But that's like the one. Well, there's one more chill piece of media layer. This one's gonna be a bit more heavy. So going forward, I was really debating on how I wanted to tackle this one, and I think it's just better just to go into it. So, Sales at Work creator Akemi Shimizu revealed that she struggled with several traumatic experiences while working on the manga. She was diagnosed with depression, hair pulling disorder, and a lot of PTSD. She also revealed that she was a victim of financial exploitation and sexual victimization by relatives, and on top of that, the experienced secondary victimization by her family. She had to cut ties with her younger sister, who had inspired her writing. The incident remained major wounds on her life to this day. So, again, this is going to be going into the deeper, darker side of manga. Because, again, most of what she's talking about here, this little post doesn't go into it. But there is a tendency to emotionally corner Magica. Cells at Work creators' allegations promote numerous fellow artists to speak out about mistreatment by editors. And this is kind of where we're going to go into it. Many of the things she's been feeling didn't just come from her family, as she said. It came from another place. And that is her time working on the manga, specifically for the actual producer she was working for, which was at this point kind of Karasha Koden Sha. I cannot pronounce that. I'm so bad. But yeah, so following Akimi Shiru's allegations against Konosha, other authors have spoken about the unpaid royalties, ignore health concerns, and other issues with editors. Substance War creator Kinishiwa recently recent allegations against the editorial department and subsequently apologized for the Sundagura has prompted numerous fellow manga creators to share their own actions and conflict with the hardships involving the editor's staff, drawing attention to poor work conditions and professional mangaka in the industries as reported by fuck sorry as per Sunicho Annex. So this is her actual post right here. It's gonna give me the translation. I'm at the okay. So oh yeah, it gives me the translation. So, the following is a personal summary based on the materials and memories from the time. This is not definitive evaluate of parties involved, but rather a complied of explanations I received during the serialization of cells at work and subsequent impacts of those aroused. This is completely separate from the sexual assault matter. There is multiple incidents of harm and apologies that make it complicated. 2014. So that's as far as back we go. 2014. Around the time Cells at Work serialization began, I was informed by my editor, Mr. A, that medical supervisions will be involved. No explanations were provided about the actual supervision setup. On Shimizu's side, productions began to permit that corrections would come from the supervisor. With no corrections made, we reach just before the single volume release, and Shimizu cited confirmed that Mr. A whether the supervision's checks would truly take place. Mr. A responded, "It's fine." So right here in this subsection. So during the actual beginning process of her first volume of the manga, right? before it went on sale, she was informed that they were going to have actual specialists look over works. You know, because the Cells at Work is a manga that basically depicts the inside of your body as kind of like a facility, as a home to the cells, blood cells, what blood cells, white blood cells, the neurones, all these like different cells in your body. They work to basically do their average things. The red blood cells take quote unquote packages to different places in your body. They take oxygen over to your lungs. They transfer like these objects here to there. That's how it's done. That's the whole concept. It's very creative, and many doctors have actually, many doctors who reaction on YouTube have praised it for some of the actual like more technical aspects of what they're going about describing, like how they describe like, oh, this is what the liver is. It's a giant facility that basically works off to break down these enzymes and so on. So that's what she mean. She needed to have someone on there to be an expert to kind of go over with her about her manga. How does this look? Is this right? Can you tell me about this thing more? And every time she asked, hey, where are they actually looking over? Where can I find these people? So on and so forth. She was kind of getting sidebarred. Sorry, getting a drink. And then when the actual first volume of the manga released, the editor was like, "It's fine, don't worry about it." All right, so 2015, at the time of the first volume's release, the supervision named was not listed by the first single volume. There were numerous errors in the published content. Criticism arose from readers along with the lines of the author didn't research properly, and I thought the writers were supposed to do their homework. Again, this is already showing its like issues going on. They're criticizing her for her like not being able to completely articulate or define, or she got some things wrong about here or there about like either how an organ worked or what the cells are doing, so on and so forth. But again, we go back to this top part. There was supposed to be a specialist there to help her along the way throughout the development of the manga, and then before it actually went out, it was supposed to have that specialist look it over. That never happened. Shimizu cited requesting explanation from Mr. A and improvements for the supervision setup. It was the first such request. Mr. A stated, it's a just a manga, so it's just fine to casual about it, and improvements were refused. Amid the explosive spread of work, critical reviews started targeting the author continuously, causing mental distress. Trick Tilman Mañana developed during the you know what? I'm actually gonna look this up. It doesn't go into what this is. Let's go into a deeper shine. Here we go. Is a psychological characterization by irreversible recruitment urge to pull out your own hair. The classified by the body focused repetitive behavior BFRB is often caused by noticeable hair loss, skin damage, and significant emotional distress. So she started to developing these actual symptoms and issues. Where the fuck is it? Here it is. During her work on the next volume, and because she was receiving all these criticisms and she was not being listened to by her editor.
Yep.
So during the serialization, Shimizu cited purchased large quantities of reference books and personal expenses to produce while verifying them. So again, she's using her own money to purchase books on, so this way she can continually research more on what she's doing for her own manga, because the editor initially told her there was going to be a specialist to help her out with this, and then there wasn't. So now she must do extra homework to make sure that her manga is like not being criticized for not doing its own research into talking about a specific topic that involves the human body, biology. Which I won't lie, like typically, like, yeah, we all are human beings. We can have a general understanding of what our body has, but like none of us are actually like really like that. Again, we all took high school biology, but I doubt most of us retained the information that we gathered there. You might remember like where your hip bone is and everything and all that jazz, but like I doubt most of us are experts when it comes to that detail. So the fact that she again wants to make sure, like, it wasn't just the fact that she was being criticized for this. It felt like she was basically, to me at least, from what I've read, she's the type that really wants to like make her work shine and make sure people understand like she is putting her effort into this. So she wants to make sure that everything is perfect. She wants to make sure everything is at least done right. it's not just about stopping the criticism. It's about making sure the actual book is correct, as correct as you can be about the information you're giving out. So the fact that she went to her out of her way to spend her own money on this tells me a lot about, like, what type of person she is. Like, not many people are willing to just kind of like do that. I'm not saying it's like a rare thing, but at the same time, I've sometimes, like, again, I give praise to an actor like Nicolas Cage, who is such a strong actor, and he loves what he does. Like, if anyone knows the story about Wally's Wacky Ward,
He doesn't care if his movies are shitty.
it's not even just the fact that he doesn't care if the movies are shitty. For instance, like Wally's Wacky Ward, right? So when
Well,
he
no, Wally's one of them.
Wally's Wonder Man, I'm sorry. So when that movie was getting made, it was actually like in danger of going under because they didn't have the money to fund it. Now Nicolas Cage was offered to like go on and like do the role initially, and then partway through the production of it, he was like, "Hey, I don't mind giving you guys the money to finish this." And they're like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm having so much fun with this, and I love this role. I want to see it through." So he paid for the rest of the actual like cost for the film to be made. And it's a movie where he doesn't even talk. Throughout the entire movie, he has no speaking lines. It's all just Nicolas Cage's face, and it's always the same serious like face. And yet he was having so much fun playing this like random guy who just drifted into town and just like was being forced to like clean up this fucking like crappy knockoff Chuck E. Cheese. Like again, you hear that and you're like, wow, that's pretty fun. And again, the movie wasn't pegged like it's this like great thing. In fact, I think most critics hated it, but it did really well with the fan base. And again, I can always give praise to those type of people who always not only just enjoy what they do, but really wanted to succeed in at least some manner or form, if not with the critics, but with the fans and the readers. And in her case, she was getting attacked by both ends, not just by critics, but by the people who actually liked her work. There's like, hey, you're getting a lot of this stuff wrong. Uh,
Yeah.
so let's continue with errors remaining in the cell's factions, existence, names, and responses, orders, etc. So again, she was getting things wrong with like how some cells were named, how what function what cell did over another, things like that. No interactions with the assistants came for the editorial department. Multiple follow up graduates from the Vocaloid school were hired. There were multiple assistants who refused background art, screen tones, focus lines, sound effects, lettering, etc., saying "I can't do it, so I won't." Or if there is nothing I can do, I'll go home. Leading to situations where this pisses me off so much. It pisses me off because this isn't even just a, you know, I'm sure we've all worked a job where we've had that one employee who's like, well, it seems you guys got this, so I'll just head out early. Or, man, like, there's nothing to do. What do you guys even pay me for? I'm like, dude, you can go check the boxes, you can like go do top stock, you can go do this or that. There's multiple things you can do. You just don't want to do them. Like, and it's not even just a one thing for this. Like, again, if you actually go back to something like, it pisses me off because there are talented people out there. Like, for instance, Lilo and Stitch. Did you know that a lot of the actual animators and creators for the Lilo Stitch, the movie, the animated one, like, do you know the waves, like how they were made?
Yeah.
So if you remember, like specifically for the waves and the designs, how they actually wanted to get the motion of the waves right, they couldn't do it. They were having so much problem, and they refused to use modern day computers for it at the time. So they actually went out and found old Disney animators and asked them, "Hey, how did you guys used to do the actual like rotoscope and everything for Snow White and everything?" And they stayed at those people's homes for days and learning about this old style of animation from these people. And then they took that information back to their studio in Disney and they did that same style for the waves. That's insane. That's dedication. And then you have fuckwits like this who's like saying like, I can't do that. I don't want to do this. I want to go home. Bitch, then get the fuck out. It's so funny because I work with people like this every day. I work with assholes who literally just stand there texting, and then like the manager comes and is like, "Y'all got to do something. Come on, go work." And then they go work for like a minute, and then they go right back to standing. And the only reason why we keep them on is because we need them. I've tried to help younger people. I'm not like super old. I'm not even that old, but I'm old enough to understand like y'all need some hustle. Y'all need to actually put in the effort because if y'all don't, y'all can lose your jobs. As soon as someone even a slightly modicum more qualified than you comes around, guess who's the first one to go? Not me.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's like the start of the controversy with like how everything went. That's what she posted, right? To give some background, July 1st, Shimizu made a series of X posts detailing the power harassment and mismanagement she experienced at Ko- Kodensha during the serialization of Kuso's at Work manga. She alleged that despite promising to secure professional supervision for her story medical aspects, her editor and publishing team failed to do so and repeatedly ignored her request. As a result, Shimizu had to face harsh criticism from readers and not doing her homework as an author for every other error that went on the unchecked. Again, kind of typical of this. Like people always look at it's a joke I like to use from Hopper from A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
So you remember the line whenever like he goes down into the ant's hole and like he's asking where's the food and like she's saying like it wasn't my fault, I didn't do anything, and like she's about to point the
Yeah.
flick and he goes first rule of leadership, princess, everything is your fault, basically implying it is not the workers who are to be blamed. You sit at the top. You are the one who manages them. If they fuck up, you fucked up. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like the idea that many people kind of push onto others. And again, it's not always wrong. A lot of the time you have really shit management and you just don't know what to do. But in this situation, it's one of those times where like, no, the person who's technically in charge, which is her, just has really bad people and she's being told one thing and then they're doing something exactly opposite.
Mhm.
Or they're just telling her to fuck off. Additionally, she alleged that Kurosawa failed to provide her with professional level manga assisting, normally a given with the publisher authors that would be willing and capable of helping her in her backgrounds and other aspects of her manga production. This increased her workload and left her with no choice but to pull in all-nighters and to meet her deadlines. Requests for these conditions to be approved were allegedly met with abusive remarks from her editor, suggesting that Shimizu was always pushing blame onto others. These issues persisted even after Shimizu came back from hiatus, which she notes her editors wrongfully attributed to her running out of ideas, ultimately leading to her decide to end the manga.
Yeah, it's shocking, but
No,
not surprising.
it's not. Yes, it's shocking, but it is not surprising because again, as I stated before, if you guys don't know, there is always been a consistent like understanding that like many manga and animators in the actual field of the anime and manga industry are treated like shit. They get paid just enough to live off of, but not enough to ever really see a future where their workload is going to be. They most Why do you think like most animators and mangas authors are like sickly and like really like just like tired and the workload is insane for them. Like again, go back to like some authors do have like basically like health conditions, but like it doesn't help them when they have to stay all night at their job doing like 1,000 pages in one night because they have a deadline to meet within like 2 hours. Like these
Mhm.
people put themselves into such strenuous situations because this is their job and they want to do it because this is the work they want to do, but it shouldn't be this way. It never should be this way. She even asked, can I please have some assistance, and they're like, no, fuck you. Like she was told these people were going to be able to understand, they were able to help out, that they were capable workers. They didn't want to do the job. She asked, when can we get the specialist? They were told to stop asking about that.
The company's getting really shitty. It's bad when the company's getting really shitty when you're hearing all that stuff.
Well, it's like, and I'm really glad we have more animators, creators, authors coming out and speaking about this. Like the number of actual companies and industry giants that have been alleged to have done something or have been proven to have done something in the past like 5 6 months of this year is insane. I mean, before this, there was like maybe like one or two that got called out, maybe a low entry position that got called out. But since like the start of 2025, we've been seeing a large amount of like large companies be called out and then having to either force an apology out of them or pay their dividends to the actual authors. So, but here's the problem though. We're seeing them apologize. We're seeing them pay the rights to the actual creators after years of abuse, but we're not seeing them actively change their ways. So that's where things need to come in. They need to actively change the system of what they're doing. And then they bitch, like, again, we go back to Katakuro, as we talked about, like, days ago, like, months ago, like, weeks ago. Like, they're like, there aren't too many many Japanese authors that want to work here. Let's go look at elsewhere, like India and stuff. I'm like, yeah, no shit, the fact that they don't want to fucking work for your company. Why would they? You treat them like shit.
Exactly.
Like, it's not rocket science here, guys. Come on.
Yep.
So,
Duh.
yeah.
Like it's obvious.
But again, they don't want to address it. Like, I'm going to be talking about this later, later the week, for my yapping and chatting stream. But like Xbox, right? So Xbox, like, guys, we're going to be completely restructuring all of Xbox. We're gonna make changes. We're gonna make gamers want to come back and play our consoles. We're gonna be the next big thing. We're gonna be bigger than Sony, right? We're gonna fire almost everyone. And you've had some people cheer that on. They're like, yeah, fuck these people. They're in their shitty ass games. Their games never really hit that top dollar anyways. And like, right. And like, so what are you guys gonna do now? Oh, we're gonna use H1P1s to bring in a bunch of like people from out of nation, out of the country to work for us now. So it's like, so you fired everyone in the industry to hire new employees out of country? And they're like, yeah. And people are like, what? And I look at these people like, how did you not know that they were going to do that? How did you not know that that was the plan? Why would you assume they were just going to mass fire people and then not fill those roles with others? But this again, like this is one of those things where, like, literally, like, if we can't find people who are willing to draw manga in the industry right now from the Japanese side of things, we'll just look for at like Norway or India or China. I'm sure they'll love to work for us. Even after sales work ended, Shimizu notes that the criticism went to change how she was credited in subsequent spin-off works. So, if you don't know, she's had a couple of spin-offs of Cells at Work, one of which got an anime recently, which is called Cells at Work Black. It is a spin-off telling of a different like body. So that's one of the things they're talking about. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, the white blood cell. Oh my god, she is gorgeous. And the white blood cell and Cells at Work, the first series, he's great too. I love him. But yeah, like it literally, like here it is, removing her name entirely in 2023 and 2026. So they didn't even credit her in any of the actual spin-off series from which these spin-offs were taken from. These revelations eventually caused strong backlash amongst Shimizu fans and industry peers, and didn't take long for Kawazu to respond. On July 3rd, the publisher posted a public apology to the author in which they acknowledged, quote unquote, acknowledge they had failed to provide the professional supervision and assistance, as well as the fact that they did not properly consult with Shimizu regarding how she would be credited in certain spin-off and titles. You guys know for a fact, right? I'm just saying this right now. You know for a fact that they saw her come in every day. If she really did have this condition where she was so much distress, she had so much distress, so much turmoil that she was feeling, that she was ripping out her own hair and causing like scabs and bleeding to the scalp, right?
Yeah.
You're telling me that no one paid attention? That no one gave a fuck? No, I'm sure some of you looked at her and was like, she'll be fine. I'm sure some of you was like, I know she's got a deadline to meet. It's fine. And then when she went on hiatus, they didn't give a fuck. Why did you go on hiatus? Oh, you're feeling sick? Oh, fuck you, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, apologizing. Exactly. They didn't change. They're not going to change. I got something to talk about later about the same exact company, but they're not going to change. They don't give a fuck. If they did, like, literally, this would have been drawn out, like, a while ago, you guys would have acknowledged what the fuck you did. Cells of Work did gangbusters for you guys. It sold really well, despite it having criticisms. But those criticisms would have never been there if you would have done your fucking job. Think how much more praise you guys would have gotten as a company if you would have just done your fucking job and given her the expert, given her actual people who gave a fuck about working on a manga. But you didn't. You decided to be cheap. You decided to be dickheads.
Cheap. Not only cheap, but literally not enforcing that policies.
Exactly. But to kind of finish off the article, and in the meantime, other artists have spoken up about their own experience following Zemers's allegation. Kaita, the manga behind the shovel, and the evil eye, revealed that they had at one point not received royalties for the overseas sales of e-books over the years. So what they're talking about is right here. This actually happened like a couple of days after it was revealed what's going on with her. So because she talked about it. Karuso destroys another mangaka. The corporate scandal of Karuso's publishing house has drastically worsened after the new and brutal accusations that were revealed from one of its own other artists. Mary Kara illustrated The Girl, the Shovel, and the Evil Eye confessed that the company unjustly withheld her payments for over a year and completely ignored her alarming physical decline. Again, another mangaka who was having some issues with her health because how many hours she was working, because how much workload she had, because these people wouldn't assist her. Despite suffering severe weight loss, the management forced her to continue working under inhumane conditions. The new accusations confirm that the recent abuse from the author of Cells at Work is not just an isolated case, but rather a destructive work culture. Exploitation is just standard. And that is true. Again, not every manga company is like this. That is true. But there is a large number of them that do basically exploit their workers, that do exploit their mangakas, to the point where these people are fucking like withering away in their desks filled with papers, pencils, and all these other like amenities for their actual work. All they do is go to sleep for 5 hours, wake up, and go back to work on their manga. There have been stories of authors who don't see their family for days. Hell, there's stories of like Akira Toriyama, one of the most infamous like mangakas out there, that he would take months. Exactly. Like it's ridiculous. And again, Akira Toriyama eventually had time where he could spend with family, but that's because Dragon Ball Z literally became one of anime's most popular animes and mangas. Like, think about it. He had to hit such success to the point where he's like, hey, I can now go spend time with my family and kids. I mean, he's not the only one. And again, depending on the publisher you're with, you could probably have that. The publisher for Fullmetal Alchemist, the author for Fullmetal Alchemist, she was able to find time to not only work on her manga with capable people and also go have time with her husband and everything. But those are more, I won't say rare, but at least uncommon situations. There are just so many moments in actual manga, like where these people are like withering themselves to the bone just to finish one fucking chapter, just to finish one volume, so this way they can hit their deadline before it's ended, and these people can start publishing it out like fucking like cake work, so this way people can eat up and go read it, and then they're immediately like, when can I have the next one?
Yeah.
But yeah, people are not giving these people any inch. Like, despite like what I just said there, that they apologized. So, what was it? So this is an actual conversation we didn't get a chance to cover a while back because I think the story technically had passed by the time we came back, because I think this is during a hiatus that we took for a small moment. But it's funny that this actually is useful now as information because more shit happened about the company. So, goodbye to freedom. Kanasha allies itself with the UN, and fandom fears censorship in manga. So, what does this mean? So, do you remember a while back when the UN basically spoke on talking about we need to have harder guidelines and censorship for Japan's distribution of their manga and anime?
Yeah.
Remember how a couple of companies sided with them on that idea?
A lot.
Yeah, guess which one did? These assholes.
Yep.
If you reckon Japanese manga with a final stronghold immune to the long arm of Western corporate virtual signaling, you might want to sit down. The internet's collective antenna started twitching recently when the few particular eagle eye users decided to stop scrolling and started digging through the corporate website of Kansha, one of Japan's absolute publishing behemoths. What they unearthed didn't exactly calm their nerves. Buried in official company literature were documents championing alliances with the United Nations, first toning for the pledges of diversity, subsidiary, and social responsibility. We're not talking about throwaway PR tweets designed to win brownie points to show. Basically, they're not just virtue signaling; they actually mean this. Being the guardians of freedom and diversity now is a corporate goal. Active involvement in the UN's media pact of the SDGs, Subsidized Development Goals, border level approval of Weave social equality initiatives, and decision making. Where have you heard all those fancy words before?
Yeah,
It almost sounds like Blackrock.
exactly.
It almost sounds like Disney. It almost sounds like every goddamn Western company.
Literally, this is literally some fucking daily shit.
Because it is. It really is, hun. Like, it's ridiculous the amount of like actual like how these people are sicking their talons into every industry now because it's become popular. You know for a fact they didn't give two fucks about this, but the moment they started seeing that they were losing money in our current Western media, they're like, wait, where are all the people's attentions going? And they looked over to Japan. That's where. And again, I don't want to sound all doom and gloom. I think it's good to pay attention to this. I'm really glad people did pay attention to this. But like, we're already starting to see it here in the West again. Do you know what's getting another? Do you know what's getting a live action adaptation?
Fuck, I forgot.
My Hero Academia.
Oh,
That's not the only one though. There are multiple animes in the works right now getting a live action adaptation. Some can argue, well, it's because of One Piece. It was so successful. I'm like, right. All you need is one success story, and then you get multiple. Think how many failures there had to be to get One Piece. We saw the failure that was Cowboy Bebop. We saw the failure that was fucking Death Note. We saw the epic failure that was Dragon Ball Evolution. Like, they had to get multiple live action anime shit wrong to get a One Piece.
let's be honest. Let's be honest. Every time when Hollywood tries to make a live action adaptation, you'll guarantee it's gonna end up really shit. Well, except for Alita Battle Angel or
But that's because the actual director behind it was such a huge fan of Alita Battle. He knew that. He loved it, and he even got the actual. He actually got like I believe I remember hearing that he actually purchased some of the original works from the creator to actually make sure he got the design as close as he wanted to. Like he wanted to make it look realistic, but not freaky. But he was a huge fan. He is a huge fan of Alita Battle Angel. He loved it. That's why, regardless of how you feel about it, you can at least see passion put into the project.
Yep.
You don't see passion in fucking Death Note made by Netflix. Do you think there was any passion put into the Cowboy Bebop live action shit?
No.
Do you think they actually gave a fuck? No, they probably watched one or two episodes, thought a couple of scenes were cool, and then put it in there. They made Faye look like a fucking 40-year-old woman. But it's coming. Again, this isn't the only one that's getting a live action series. There are talks of Demon Slayer getting a live action series. There's talks of Full Metal Alchemist getting a live action series. Why? Because the West wants some of that money. They want some of that green that Japan's getting because their shit is popular and ours currently isn't. And again, it just goes to show that like fucking like we will sink our talents into. So Hollywood will always sink its nasty fucking talents into everything if it'll gain them a buck. They're not learning from their mistakes. Hollywood actors are like, how come people don't listen to us no more? I'm like, because you never shut the fuck up to begin with. We just stopped caring. We don't care what you think, fucking Sarah Silverman. We don't give a fuck what you think, Seth Rogen. You guys are retarded. But yeah.
Santa Incorporated really does prove it.
Yeah, I was in such disbelief that Seth Rogen was so oblivious to the fact that he was making a shit take. Again, this is the man that literally was like, he's like, when people were saying like we need to have stronger like police force in California now. People are breaking into our cars and stealing our shit, and then he just comes as like, I mean, I think it's pretty cool. Sometimes when they break into my car, they leave something for me. I'm like, are you like completely mental, dude?
Mhm.
He's an absolute ass. He cannot, for the life of me. I think Seth Rogen has just been in Hollywood for so long now that he just does not remember the moment where he was in those positions of those people and like living in the streets. He's
Mhm.
become so fucking toxic brain into Hollywood and how elitism is over there that it's just he has no semblance of the little guy anymore. It is only him and everything after.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So, why fans are panicking? For plenty of readers, that carries the unmistakable whiff of ESG. It does. It is ESG. Environmental, social, and governance policies. A very framework that has already had Western entertainment by a scuff of the neck, deciding what gets greenlit and what gets quietly shelved. So, from a quote, the community naturally lost a collective core. Fans are terrified. The eccentric pressure has flattened manga into cookie cutter storytelling, a shango to creative art. Let me repeat myself. The community naturally lost its collective cool. Fans are terrified that the extensional pressure and flattened manga into cookie cutter storytelling. So, as they say here, they're afraid that what these people are going to be implementing for their stories are going to take away any form of creativity and just make every anime just a never by the numbers like crap show slop.
Mhm.
Strangling the creativity archery of makes it media so electrifying in the first place. And the anxiety isn't coming from nowhere. People immediately recalled how various UN communities have previously taken swipes at Japan over the way they render characters in manga and video games, basically implying how some females look in video games. And it's always about how females look in video games. They could give two fucks if there's a big buffy dude in there in speedos, but no, if the woman's got some big tatas and they jiggle one way to another, they fucking start losing their minds.
Mhm.
As of today, there is no smoking gun, no hard evidence that Kershaw has actually censored, canceled, or tampered with any of their crown jewels just to keep the suits happy. But paranoia, that's very real. It's running up rampant across the discussion boards of anime and manga. Basically, they're talking about like places like my anime list and Reddit and stuff. So,
Mhm.
so this is a real fear people had, and it's justified because again, do you remember a while back?
Mhm.
Uh, so right here. When this was found out, right? That like that people went in, researched and found out that these people are like
Or I
behind the
think
idea
they,
of ESG, right?
I think they passed it into a law.
What?
Um, I think they did pass a law, the Children Safety Act. I think.
Oh, wait. Are you talking about are you talking about the one that went to the Senate?
Yeah. I think. I don't know.
Wait, did they
I don't know. I didn't get too much information on that.
there's no way it passed.
I thought you were aware of it.
No, I'm aware and I know it was in Congress, but it was going to the Senate. Did they already vote?
Like I said, I don't know.
Kids Online Safety Act. Kids Online Safety Act. In 2006, the House passed the Product Safety Act, including the kids, border kids, etc. The House is wrong on its duty care. Okay, so it still hasn't gone to the Senate. Yeah, they're saying the House has passed. Yeah, the House passed it. It's going to the Senate now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still most likely you fucking made me like lose my shit just now. I literally thought you were saying it passed, like you like saw some sort of real time like
Well,
new
most
news.
likely.
No, no. This some form or another of the kids online safety pack has been created for the past like 30 years. Every time it's get made, the lawmakers read it. It will at times pass from the House, but every time it gets to the Senate, it gets shut down because this is incredibly violating free speech and our human rights and our rights. Full stop. It does. It can violate our privacy policy because it's going to ask you requesting like voter the IDs on like these websites. It will change the actual landscape for such a huge market of people that I cannot see. Not only has it been shut down in past years, but I think currently they know for a fact this cannot pass. If it passes, it's going to change the landscape for so much going forward. And I'm pretty sure they know for a fact there will be so many upset people that there actually might be a large swath of protests coming from us. Because if there's one thing we Americans can do more than anyone else, it is literally protest out the wazoo.
Not right.
Well, rioting has been more of a bigger thing that's been happening recently because of crazed leftists. But protesting has always been prominent through our entire like cultural history. Like, sure, have there been protests in other countries? 100%. But when you actually see the amount of staggering protests we've had comparatively to the other like countries, it is ridiculous. They will have so many people marching the street. This shit will not pass. Now, if it does, for some reason pass, some people have made the argument, well, Trump could just not sign it. I'm like, that's the thing, though. He's already kind of shown, like, that he doesn't really care. He would sign this if it passes the Senate. But I just don't have any belief that it would.
Mm-hmm.
It just can't. If it did, then, well, yeah. Kind of fucked in the hole, aren't we?
Yep.
Let me get a drink. But anyways, going back to this. So when this was discovered and people started making posts about it online, the company took immediate action and began to block anyone who was mentioning their name in a negative tone. And again, Chibi says right here, you realize how disgraceful it is that Crunchyroll was mass blocking people for calling them out for siding with the UN censorship. Not even Crunchyroll does that. I give CR a lot of shit, but I will say I will say they don't usually block people. So Crunchyroll doing this says a lot. So yeah, so because of them, like people finding out that they were actually on board with the UN like censorship things coming out of Japan,
Mm-hmm.
they began blocking a lot of people, and that wasn't the only thing that they did. So if you remember my little post here that I made a while back, you remember this? The one about the author about witch hat artery, like basically talking about. Sorry, burping. Where the actual person asked them was like, what do you think about women in the actual space of like that's traditionally held by men in manga?
Yeah.
You find out that this was like a story that not only was done by an actual interviewer from the UN, but the fact that this specific manga was glazed by the UN officials. And people started looking into it more so why, and people have made a theory that's because this particular manga slash anime is kind of like propaganda.
Yeah. I can already.
Now again, that's a theory. I haven't actually sat down and read the manga or
Yeah,
actually watched the anime.
We can't exactly confirm it or claim it is because.
Well, what we can confirm, right, is through the questions and answers via the actual interview and other statements made by UN officials and people who have worked for who work for the company, Kanashiro. And the thing is, to me, I feel like the authors to them is just a useful idiot. I think the questions were directed in a way where she kind of answered, where they kind of knew how she was going to answer them, which in turn made them look kind of more like that she was in agreement with what they were asking her, more so than like her actually giving her a perspective on something of her own volition, in that sense. Like, and some people are actually kind of coming with that idea too. The problem here is it is so strange for the UN to go to such lengths to not only give so much praise to a specific like piece of like art like this manga, but then push it more so. That is a bit weird. So that's why a lot of people kind of like harping on this and really focusing on what this company does next. And all this recent controversy with Cells at Work and the girl with the shovel just is only adding fuel to the fire. if they don't do something soon to actually change and redirect their like entire company soon to like how actually like you know first I would say do this. Not only credit your authors in your work, especially the author for Sosa work. Not only actually credit them. An apology isn't enough.
Mhm.
Like this woman suffered so much, both women, and I don't even know how many other people who are actually a part of your company suffer from you.
Mhm.
I think some reparations are in order. You should give them a bigger cut. You should like 100% pay them out. Pay the money towards them.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming these guys probably got a lot of medical bills that they just if any royalties they get from their mangas probably go to that. I'm not saying these things are not popular, but at the same time, they are not so popular that they're probably living in like a lavish lifestyle. They might be living in a house or probably a small apartment someplace in Tokyo.
Yep.
Like, not everyone can be a Kiri Toriyama who owns a large homestead in like the mountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that story. Again, that's again showing kind of more of a deeper side of the anime industry. It's one of those things where like I look at and I just really think like I I know business can be messy, but I really wish I can't even say I really wish because like that's like being naive at that point. It's just we
Yeah.
need to actually put more of an actual pressure. I won't even say pressure. We need to start. We need to start helping mangakas stand up for themselves more and actually like find a way to like offset the workload so this way they're not killing themselves. So this way we can be entertained. I don't want to hold a book of one of my favorite series and feel like disturbed every time I look at it.
Mhm.
I want these people to pay their due. I want these people to be paid what they're owed. I want these people to live a nice life while doing the thing they want to do. Now, of course, there's always going to be sacrifices someone makes, especially for a job that like isn't technically a necessity. Like they're not out there like doing underwater welling. They're not police officers. They're not firefighters. But at the same time, providing entertainment through storytelling and helping kids learn lessons via that system is really good. And I think it's actually a nice just cause for entertainment. I think this is where people always kind of like slide entertainment and things like, oh, I'm just reading a book to like see people fight each other. I'm like, right, but like sometimes those stories really do inspire more people than you think, and entertainment can be a great way to offset your own bit of stress. That's why I think games are so important. That's why I think movies are so important. That's why I think all these things are so important. It's not just the level of like actual like entertainment one can gather from them, but not just the actual like message that something has, but it's the fact that like how too often or not people are so drawn to like doing like negative or harmful things to each other because they don't have an outlet. Having something like a game can sometimes give them an outlet. Like if like no that was I had a friend, guy who raged a lot. Games were a great outlet for him because he was able to let off some steam and was actually able to enjoy himself. He started actually becoming he's mellowed out so much over the years. Like this guy used to call you a fucking loser for getting for someone getting first blood on you in League of Legends.
Mhm.
It was great. I used to laugh my ass off every time he got mad because I thought it was funny the fact that he would get so like ass mad over a game. Like we lost. I remember like one time we were playing a game on a forge for Halo 3, and we were just having a goof all time. And we didn't even give a shit who was dying, who wasn't dying. But he kept dying. He kept getting mad. I'm like, dude, it's just a fun game. Why are you getting so upset? It's infection. Shit like that. But like again, he's mellowed out. And what's helped him out is over the years, gaming. What's helped him out, like reading manga and stuff. He's found outlets to channel that into a different thing. And again, this isn't for everyone. I'm just saying like that's why I think entertainment is such a good value source for us. So we should really treat the people who are giving us this outlet for us better. And that's all. That's I know it sounds so much more prettier and things that I'm saying. I don't know. I'm just kind of speaking out my ass now. Okay, so next bit of information, we're gonna go back to Yana Neko. You remember this from last week, right?
Yeah, Chainsmoker Cat.
So in Chainsmoker, the anime that inspires cleaning. I thought this was really funny. So the creator of Mercury Too Many Losing Heroines confessed that disgusting anime in Yaroneko forced him to completely change his lifestyle. He mentioned that seeing the repulsive level of dirtiness from the feline protagonist generated so much anxiety in him that he immediately deep cleaned his own house to avoid ending up like her. Curiously, he wasn't the only one. Yoko Natsuki, the voice actress for the Smoking Cat, revealed that since recording the series, she has started washing her bath much more frequently. Gimme grime as therapy. And again, they're not the only ones. Multiple people have said, "Man, that's disgusting. I want to start dusting my room." Or, "Oh my god, she lives in squalor. I'm going to go wash the dishes. I don't want to end up like her."
Jesus Christ.
It's just one of those funny. And that's kind of really all it is. It's just people are like, I'm gonna change my lifestyle because I don't want to look like her. I don't want to end up like her. But that's not the only thing we're on Neko. For our last story, and this will be our last story. Um,
Mhm.
you remember how last week I told you how Nyaru Neko had a bit of history where there was a large campaign against the actual manga when it was first released back in 2023?
Was this something we discussed last
Well,
week?
we did discuss last week that Nyaru Neko got a huge amount of backlash and amount of
Yeah,
like,
I do
okay,
remember that.
but there's more to that story that I didn't know about. That thanks to a few people online, we found out more about. And honestly, it does not have anywhere close to being a happy ending. So,
I wonder why.
Shikai praised Nyaru. Oh, wait, no, that's actually still another bit of story. I'll you know what? I'll just say this. So, Koshii, legendary director, globally acclaimed for the emotional gems of Your Name, has surprised everyone with his confession that he, uh, basically, what they're trying to say is this guy, a very, very well liked director in animes, basically praised and really enjoys Yani Neko. He thinks it's a very funny, interesting show. And people are like, what
Hmm.
the fuck is wrong with you? In fact, like right here, Mokusheke has gone woke and lost his edge, you know? That's like one of the first comments. Probably some business mutual ass kissing, right? Again, some people are kind of like in disbelief that he would be like, "Oh yeah, I like this show." Show's not bad, guys. It's literally just about a cat who lives in the. Again, there's a lot of more deeper meaning behind it, but if you just look at it, like, and also they do a lot of references from like movies and stuff. I didn't notice that scene I was telling you about where she was taking a shit. I didn't know that was referencing Dumb and Dumber.
Really?
Yeah, some people were doing like videos of a side by side comparison to some of the things in the anime that they've done so far, to actual real scenes from
Hmm.
other films and TV shows. And so when she's taking a crap, I guess that's a reference to Dumb and Dumber. That scene whenever not Lloyd, what's the other guy's name? Not Jim Carrey's character, the other character. I guess I forget what he ate something that was like that required him to go to the bathroom. He was just shitting himself. That scene.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. So here's what I'm talking about. So this is gonna come to us from Emerald Apple. I think Emerald Apple does a really good job of investigating and like searching up information. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't look any deeper past what we saw last week because I thought that's where the story ended, but apparently that's not. So, yep, the author of Chigyu Yukiri, who died, I'm going to start off with the preface that this
Mhm.
person died, was the writer Sadasuda who lost the next manga award in 2023. Yaneko placed 12th, and Sadasuda did not place in the final rankings. This engagement with the author Sadasuda, who thought their manga was far superior to Yaneko, which led to the harassment campaign. He thought that his more serious, action-oriented manga was clearly better, and that he saw as a disgusting gag manga that basically killed the momentum of their manga, fell into insanity, and after it was exposed that the author lost face in Japanese society, once you lose face in Japanese society, you're shunned from the industry and led to complete professional ruin. So before I'm going to continue reading this, as you just saw for what they were gathering,
Mhm.
basically what happened was there was a competition held. Nyan Neko managed to scrape into the top rankings of this competition. His didn't beat it. His didn't even come close. Well, it came close, but it didn't come like as close as that, right?
Yeah.
So it was not given an award. It couldn't move on to the next round, if you will. Because of this, because he thought of Yani Neko being such low brow, like he didn't see it as a threat, essentially. Like when you look at it as like how that pathetic skinny guy thinks he can beat me in arm wrestling, and then he beats you. The guy crashed out, went insane, and basically, even though his manga was still being produced, this loss hit him such a devastating way that he actually basically like stopped focusing on working on his manga, and instead he started making fake accounts to rapidly
Mm.
harass Yarneko author and the actual publishing site that was making the manga.
Yeah.
So probably most of those comments that we read about last time
Can't
that
believe
came,
it's getting this bad.
yeah. So this guy went insane and started doing that. When it was found out that it was him doing it, he was immediately let go. His manga got canceled, and as Emerald stated here, he lost face, implying the fact that he was basically like what's the best way to describe it? He was basically shamed and said and was tossed out of the industry. Which again in Japanese culture, because standing is kind of important into one's like actual like uh work. If you're seen as a bum, right, it is pretty low in the eyes of the society of Japanese people. They look at you like, wow, look at that guy, he's pathetic. It's not just like, it's not just it's not just like you're ignoring them. It's the fact that you don't even see them in your periphery. They're invisible to you. To be alienated to that direction can really hurt someone's mental for like mentality. And in that case, Inspector of Yokoro committed suicide months later. Not officially confirmed, but this kind of thing is common in Japan, where especially in cases of suicide, they never confirm the cause of death. This kind of crazy case is what happens when bad decisions over ego and pride can lead to absolute ruin. So as they stated, it wasn't confirmed that it was, but people have actually come to the conclusion that like that's probably what happened because his life got ruined. He stopped talking to people, and then out of nowhere he died. I don't. We're gonna read this right here. So right here it says the sad story involving Yani Neko and the deceased mangaka. With the debut of the huge popular Yani Neko manga by an author Nyanya Factory, a sad story involving him and mangaka Chikio Yukio has resurfaced. Let's take a look at what happened. Chihiro was responsible for the story of Sarasuda, an action manga publishing Young magazine that followed the story of Wukuro Akumi, a man who was wanted to live an ordinary life as an office worker, but possessed extraordinary combat abilities because he was born into a family specializing in martial arts techniques. In November 2023, accusations began circulating around Tsuneko had made offensive comments and committed acts of defamation against Nana Factory, the author of the manga Yani Neko, which also published by Young Magazine. So again, technically a colleague.
Mm.
I'm gonna get a little water. Sorry. According to the information went viral, the conflict was allegedly related to the next Manga Award 2023. Both works were nominated for the same category, but Yaneko finished in 12th place while Soso failed to place, which allegedly caused a negative reaction from the author. The accusation claimed that the message and attacks had been sent using fake identities. The case gained significant attention by the Japanese social media. After the controversy gained attention, Yugino publicly spoke out and stated that some of the information been sharing was false. He confirmed that he had discussed criticisms that made by the author of Yaneko with the publisher, but denied involvement in numerous attacks or other accusations circulating online. At the time, he was denied that Suso had been officially canceled, stating that he has not received any decisions regarding the manga's termination. In March of 2024, Council confirmed that the death of Chido and announced the publication of Sadasuda would come to an end. The publisher paid tribute to the author and highlighted his work during his years of activity in the magazine. To this day, the official cause of Matsuga's death has not been revealed. Rumors about the cause of death spread online after the news broke. Many users of social media connected the author's death with previous controversies involving the defamation accusations. However, there was no official confirmation the events connected. Therefore, any claims regarding the cause of death possible directed connections to the scandal remaining are speculations. And again, as I said, it's speculated, but there's enough information there for us to kind of like make an educated guess. And despite anything, let's say he died from natural causes. It wasn't suicide, right? Let's make that argument right now. What happened was still completely his own doing, but it's still completely sad to see that one was driven to such disarray into self-destruction because a manga that you felt was inferior to yours won an award. But what really sucks is the fact that apparently this guy did have a strong fan base. People did like his work. It's sad that he didn't win the award, but there are many popular animes, popular mangas, popular books that never win awards, but people still show up to meet and greets. People still talk about that. It still enters the cultural zeitgeist. But because he couldn't get that one bit of acclamation for his book, it kind of caused his own self demise.
Yep.
Again, let's say he died from natural causes. Let's say he didn't like kill himself, right? Let's cut that out right there. Do you think he still lived a happy, healthy life after they basically canceled his manga and like fired him? After he was basically forced to leave? Do you think he did like well off? Do you think he was good just to go back to work at any old like normal job, like a convenience store job, an office job? No. This guy had something of his, and then it was taken away, and it sucks.
Exactly.
But again, it's kind of an example of like, don't. It's fine to look at. I have no problem with someone being envious or something, but never allow your envy to basically consume you. Don't look at what others have and you don't have. If you want something, then work hard to achieve it. Take the time to understand well what made their stuff right. Again, Yani Neko is you can't especially when comparing this. He even says this manga right here is a battle manga. It is focused on combat orientated, and I'm assuming a much more, as they stated. There's no word, their words, not mine. Deeper storytelling. Yani Neko is about a cat girl who lives in a disgusting home who has an addiction to cigarettes. There might be strong messaging in his actual manga and his series, but nothing so profound, unlike what you're stating for yours. You shouldn't be comparing yours. Sometimes some people see value in humor more so than they see value in action. So doing this to yourself was already really, really bad.
Yeah.
And again, it just sucks. Like when I was reading this, I was like, wow, that's just. And again, I didn't know about this until recently. It's one of those moments where you really have the time where you go back and think, if you had a chance, would you do it over again? Like, what would you do differently? What would you change? And I don't know. It's just I don't know what I think he would have done. Because again, you had something there for yourself. Not how many people do you know how hard it is already for someone to get actually published? It's already difficult to become published. But then on top of that, like you couldn't be happy with that because someone who you thought was inferior got more notoriety.
Yeah.
It's sad. It sucks, but at the same time,
really
it's
is.
like it's not much. Like I said, this stream was gonna be more diving deeper into the dark side of manga and anime. Again, if there's one takeaway I want to tell you guys is just if you have a goal in mind, go for it. If there's someone else going for that same goal and they reach it before you, that doesn't mean you can't achieve it one day. That doesn't mean you have to stop. That just means you can either work harder, you can be complacent with what you have now, or you can give up. Those are really like your only options. And that's why I always tell people, like, there is no reason until you have amassed every possible outcome, every possible inch of your fiber of your being for you to give up. Keep trying, keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, sure, that guy won the award in 2023, but maybe there was another award you could have won in 2034.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to kind of end off in like that little kind of sour note, but like they're really well. Actually, no, wait, I forgot there is one more story, and I just closed it like an idiot. I was so focused on something else. We do have one more story. I did not bookmark it. I'm an idiot. I can find it very quick. Because this literally broke right before we started. So, you know the anime Mushoku Tensei, right?
Well, obviously.
Okay, so Mushoku Tensei, right? It has had a controversial start. Like, since like its release from manga to anime, it has had a number of people attack it, uh, basically like harass its fan bases and even the author. It has had countless people compare it to other mangas and animes. It is not without its own controversies. That's what I'm trying to say. And this story is no different. So essentially, season 3 just started. It's already aired like 3 episodes, right? And as it states here, creator of Mushoku Tensei responds. The author of Mushoku Tensei, Rifjo no Magato, broke his silence in the face of immense wave of negative criticisms of the third season of the anime. Now, before I get into what he responds, this is what they're talking about. Let's start closing some of these. So, Mushoku Tensei Season 3 has anime fans fighting again, but that Rudius is controversial and far more competitive than just it first seems. So, the main controversy is surrounding Rudius and his relationship with his various partners. Because in the anime, well, in the series, Rudius actually ends up with 3 wives. Particularly, one is an elf.
I mean, it is a harem. It is supposed to be a harem.
It is a harem, but when you look at it like this, right? So here's the context. If you know nothing about Mushoku, here's the context. A obese shut-in dies at 42 after being kicked out by his family home because of how much of a disgusting like bastard he is. He ends up dying. No, that's what happens. Like his own family.
It's an
Yeah.
isekai.
Yeah, well, it's an isekai, but it's like it's the difference in like what you know usually like the hero, the heroine saves a young boy who's about to hit by truck-kun or a mad burglar like fucking he stops like someone from like killing a young girl, but he gets stabbed instead. That's the more tropey things when you look for the hero. I forget how Rudius' character dies, but again, you have to look from this. He's like a 42-year-old obese balding man who lived in squalor in his home to the point where his siblings are the ones who kicked them out.
Yeah.
So he dies and he gets reincarnated as a young child who is being born to a small, not noble family, but they're well off. They got a maid, they live a nice in a rural area. And from there he retains all his he knows who he is. Like basically think of it as though his consciousness from this 40-year-old man was just taken from that body and placed inside of a baby. And there you go. And the controversy comes from like how Rudius acts throughout the series. And that is being he's a bit of a creep. Like as a baby, there's a scene where literally he puts on female undergarments on his face and he starts staring at the female maid because of her large chest. And he has a very specific, grinning expression on his face. He's kind of creepy. Now, the whole point of it though is Rudius starts changing, of course. Like he's in this new world, he starts learning about magic, he starts learning how to fight, he starts meeting new people. He is no longer the 42-year-old fat bastard he was. He starts, in a sense, growing. And it's the effect of throughout the series of that hit him in like kind of like a reward sense that start changing him as to become a different person. In this case, though, the controversy is in the actual depiction of the wives he gets. One is an elf who, of course, has lived for hundreds of years. The other one was his first magical teacher who taught him his spells. So there's a bit of an age gap there. His third one, it doesn't really get into it because like she's not technically with him yet, because this is mostly focused on like the third episode. That's where a lot of the backers come. In the third episode, he just ended up banging his second wife. Like they actually fucked. And that's where a lot of people start going into it goes back to the tried and true argument of, well, not lolly, but the entire idea of age in characters in anime and the actual depiction of sex and everything. It goes back to that argument. And so, Mushoku Tensei Sister has barely begun, yet it's already one of the most talked about animes of 2026. For reviewing bombing and heated social media debates and criticism, Moodius Grey Rat's relationships, the latest season generated the argument of the follow that has followed the series since its debut. Yeah, this is nothing new for the manga, but it is for the series, but it is like only skyrocketed more and more because of its popularity. Like right now, people really like the season 3. Like people love seasons 1 and 2, but season 3 like animation has been stellar. It's been great to watch. And because of the amount of people who are watching it, that just means more and more people are going to attacking it. Only a few episodes into the run, Mushoku Tensei Joblin Reincarnation Season 3 has once again become the center of one of anime's biggest online debates. While many fans are praising Studio Bide's stunning animation and emotional storytelling, others are giving the series 1-star ratings and criticizing its central character, Rudius. The result is another round of arguments of the spread across Reddit, X, and anime review platforms, making the series one of the most discussed releases in summer 2026. And this kind of goes into what I was saying. So, Rudius remains a controversial protagonist. Unlike traditional anime heroes, Rudius begins the story as a 34-year-old shonen who dies before he being reborn in a fantasy world while keeping memories of his previous life. The entire story follows the attempt to become a better person after wasting his first life. The premise has earned a praise from emotional depth, but also has attracted criticisms because Rudius often displays inappropriate thoughts and behaviors during his early parts of his story. Again, because he's like a 5-year-old, but he has the mindset of a 30-year-old guy.
Yeah.
Many reviews believe that the moments make the critiker impossible to support. Other argues that they are inherently uncomfortable because the series is built around the redemption rather than presenting Rudius as someone to admire from the beginning. And again, I don't agree with this. I think a redemption story is fine. It just depends on how you depict it. My biggest problem with Rudius in the beginning, probably much to how many people stated, is so people say like, oh, it's a redemption arc, right? He wants to change. Rudius doesn't really come to terms with the idea of changing until much later in the first season. Like he doesn't initially quote unquote want to change. It's more of an unconscious change that he's doing because he's living in this new world and like again, at a young age, episode 1, he gets reincarnated. No, episode 2, I think. He gets reincarnated and he's walking around as a baby. As a baby, he realizes he has a high aptitude for magic because he finds a book inside of a fucking a storage drawer, and he tries actually casting magic, and he learns that he's able to pick up on these things relatively quickly. Like when he first uses the water spell, he makes a giant hole in his house. And after that, his parents get the idea is like, well, even though he's only 3 years old, he's got a strong aptitude for magic. Why don't we find an instructor for him? Same thing. His dad's teaching him sword training. And by the age of 7, his own father realizes, holy shit, Rudius is on around my level of swordsmanship. A 7-year-old is keeping up with me. What can he do when he's like 20? So he's essentially a prodigy. And again, he's going through changes, but he's still very lewd. He's still very erotic. All these things are present in the series, but the changes only happen, again, I say this on an unconscious level. The story never really, at least in the beginning, doesn't really depict that Rudius himself is understanding what is happening to him, and that might be on purpose. The author might be doing this intentionally, so this way when Rudius does come to the terms of like, oh, I'm not like how I was when in my old ward. I've actually been different. This is how storytelling is done. So some people see this as an action of like, because it's not being told to them right away, this could mean that it was never addressed. Or some people are using, context clues and how the story is written as an example of like, no, 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 it doesn't need to be written. It's showing us that this is happening drastically, not drastically, but over time. And that's kind of like my more depiction of like how this should be talked about, is whether or not what is the intention of the story and how it is being depicted. But people aren't doing that. They're mainly focusing on the fact that Rudius is kind of a slime ball in the early season one versus other actions he displays. And again, as even this wrote, we wanted Rudius to be like a hero verbatim initially. I'm like, well, Rudius isn't the only one who's not a slime ball. Like, Rudius isn't the only one who's ever been a fucking slime ball in the beginning. Again, I love Konosuba. Konosuba is one of my favorite isekais. I'm not gonna sit here and say Kazuma is like hero material.
Yeah.
That man has literally stolen panties after panties after panties of women, especially Megumi.
In fact, he's almost the complete opposite of that.
Exactly. And again, like let's look at some of the other like main isekai heroes. Like there's Sid Kagano from fucking Eminence and Shadow. He's not anywhere near me as a hero. Like there are multiple anti-heroes or characters who are quote unquote the heroes of the story who don't really act all just true and like uh justice is the answer and all this righteous bullshit. There are plenty of heroes who are like that, but there are also heroes that are a bit more money. And it depends on how the story and which way they want to go about discussing it or interacting with the world that really matters. And again, thus far, in Mushoku Tensei, Rudius has been coming into that kind of like heroic role in that sense, but it's not how people wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Again, I have not finished Mushoku Tensei. I've been kind of like holding it off because I did have problems with Rudius in the early seasons because he is, again, as I've said, a slime ball. He is a creepy, creepy bastard. It is very strange of how much like actual like time the old man speaks in his head, saying some things that are just like, holy shit, dude, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of this though, the author actually said, through his X account, the writer assured that he completely ignores the toxic comments from his detractors. He confirmed that he will always write the story exclusively for his own pleasure his own personal satisfaction, and not please the masses. He writes for himself, not for the internet. He's just, oh, well, they got it in Spanish. You sons of bitches. Why would you have it in Spanish? God damn it. Where's the fucking quote now? Oh, I hate these people. Oh, why would you have it in Spanish? I think that's it. That may be it. I don't know. I keep looking just to see if I can find. Ah, here it is. Thank you, Chibi. Thank you. But even without being told, I mostly ignore the anti's comments anyways. I only and I'll write the work I want to create for myself. I've been doing that all along, and that's why I've been saying I don't have the decision making power or whether make season 4 or not. But it's decided to make it. But if it's decided to make it, I'll do my utmost. I'll do my utmost to help as much as I can. I kind of butchered that, but there you go. That's essentially what he's saying. And again, I kind of agree with him. And I think that's a philosophy many of us need to kind of take into account when it comes to writing. Like, the idea of like having to listen to your fans. Sure, I think there's a moment where you need to listen to your fan base to really understand not only the feedback you might be getting, or like there might be some things you do need to probably like take into consideration or to alter or to change to kind of like, fix up an issue here and there. Or again, you can always point to something like the Sonic movie, where this ugly ass figure was in that movie, and then because of backlash, they changed it and made it look much better. Now people love the Sonic movie and its sequels. They listen to the fans, and there's other moments throughout like media history where people have actually taken time to listen to what the fan base wanted, and they changed it for the better. Like right now, Lords of the Fallen 2, they've been talking to the fans and like, hey, we did this in the original game. Hey, would you guys like to have this changed? Hey, what do you guys think about this concept? And they're taking that into account for the development of Lords of the Fallen 2. Not saying there's anything bad about that. But again, if we took everything what the fans said to heart, then we would have so many more problems. Going back to the author of Gachi Akuda. Remember her fan base? How they were like, hey, make this bitch trans?
Yeah.
Exactly. So sometimes you really have to you really have to be willing to like engage with your fans, but there's also have to be a lot of times you have to be willing to ignore the fuck out of your fans.
Mhm.
And again, I think this is one of those moments where like, yeah, I agree with you. Ignore these people. Do not allow them to like get a rise out of you. Do not allow them to like, basically force your hand. Seems like what you're doing is being successful. People really like Mushoku Tensei. It is praised as one of the best isekais that's ever been written. People absolutely love the work. But that was the last story of the day. There's nothing else to it. That came in at last minute while I was waiting for you, and I was getting everything all like set up. I was like, oh shit, this just dropped. So I just kind of felt like I had it added to the docket.
The last minute change.
Yeah, the last minute change. But yeah, that is it. My throat hurts.
This is how to have the water cup on me.
I'm drinking. God. Act as though you're like my dad or something. But yeah, yeah, there's not much else to say, guys. That's really about it. I think a lot of these are important to talk about. I'm hoping I did them justice for you guys. I know I kind of like, talked with like I said I fuck up how I speak because I'm stupid and I fucking like have grammar issues. But I hope I did a nice enough job for you guys. So before we head out, Bruno, is there anything you want to say?
Not really.
Oh my god. Okay. You got one of these days. I want to ask you. Do you have anything to say? And you're actually going to say something.
No.
Yes. I will force you
better.
one day. I will force you one day to speak.
Okay, fascists.
Ach, my Führer. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, guys, thank you guys so much for checking us out. Thank you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoyed everything. And as always, no matter where you guys are in the world, no matter what time it is for you guys in the world, hope you guys have a good morning, a great afternoon, a beautiful evening, and a blessed night. Goodbye, everyone. I love you.